anyway, I had to go to county lockup 30 days, and I got out, and my friends, like any good military friend should do, said, "You want to like pay rent or get food? No, let's throw a party and invite whores and have a gangbang."
Hey, welcome back to Four for the Road, everybody. I'm your host, Punk Rock, and it's just me and old Gangbang Dave here, and I think we're going to have a good couple of stories from the road from our cast on Four for the Road. Is that right,
Yeah,
Dave?
the shitty part is we can't even tell the good stories.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's going to make us or break us, right?
It's how it always goes. I feel like the best episodes we always say the ones we can't record, but yeah,
Yeah,
man, I
but
get home.
we'll let it slide this time. It's all right, man.
I was supposed to be on the road for like 2 fucking weeks, and I got home like a week early. This trip was just cursed from the start. This trip, I want to say this trip sucked, but that's not fair. It didn't suck, but we've had such good luck with trips for like the last 5 or 6 times we've gone out that I guess we're just due for some hiccups. But I mean, we got off to a start with fucking my helmet got jacked. Fuck, what else? The obviously the forest fire shutting everything down. Um, Drifter and I mismanaged his days and how many days he could be on the road. Vegas was like 117 degrees. The first hotel we stopped at had like blood stains in it. I got shithoused in Kansas City to start. I crashed my bike. Man, this trip was just shit from the beginning.
Yeah, it really hurt to see that, right? Because like I was really hoping to have at least a couple of weeks of listening to your guys' stories and stuff.
Well, and
And especially shenanigans. Like Drifter, I keep telling people he is not this like nice, like rosy cheeked grandpa. Like this dude's still a fucking sailor at heart, and he can fucking party. He just has to go to bed at 11.
Well, and like I said, it's not fair to say the trip sucked because every trip has good memories. But like I said, it wasn't ideal coming in off the road and everything else, and the weather sucked, and everything's dry and hot, and it just, man, September out west is it's a rough month.
Well, I mean, it's a desert, so that that tends to
But
happen.
everything's like exceedingly dry this year. Like it's like record droughts and all this shit, and you could tell like stuff is just brown. Rivers are gone, lakes are gone, and I'm sure all that shit will come back in like April after the snow melts in the mountains and whatnot. But everything was just, and like even going up to Colorado, I went up Highway 550, which is phenomenal. But you literally like have to drive over the side of the mountain before you can see it because of the smoke. Like it's fucking. I'm from Wisconsin. Like we don't have forest fires. We don't have that bullshit. Like I was like, why is it so hazy up here? And they're like, oh, that's a forest fire. And I was like, oh, okay, that sucks.
So, were you able to, when you were in Wyoming, were you able to get together with our friend that lives up that way?
No, you know what? By the time I hit Yellowstone and stuff like that, it's just kind of over it. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna turn around and kind of head home. Uh, we had some people in Billings, I think Billings, Montana, that reached out and was like, "Hey, if you come through, let us know and get a beer." And I would have loved to have done that, but I was like, "Dude, I was just over it by that point." And nothing against the guys that reached out. It's just like the trip was just like, I don't know. Being on the road by yourself is cool sometimes, but at the same time, I was like, man, I really wish like I was on the road with somebody. Like you pull into a gas station and you're like, I'm gonna have a beer, and you're like, wait, I'm in this gas station drinking by myself. I look fucking retarded.
Yeah, and it's one thing to go on a solo trip when you're expecting to go on a solo trip. You kind of have that opportunity to mentally prepare for that before you leave, and then when you run into a circumstance like you did where some dates got mixed up, whatever. Drifter and the people that came with him had to leave. Now you don't prepare for that, and that's not like there was no build up to that. It was like, oh hey, by the way, I forgot what day it is. I have to go tomorrow. I have to start going back home.
Yeah, and obviously some circumstances. We thought we were going to have other guys that were going to be able to join us, and it just didn't work out. Whether that was personal reasons, work-related reasons, whatever, it just didn't work out. But I think those are the kind of trips that you learn a lot from, you grow from. They can't
Yeah.
all be good home run trips. They can't all be getting drunk with Drifter and his brothers in a trailer somewhere. I mean, sometimes you need a forest fire and a rough patch, and then to skid your bike around for a little bit, to let you know that not every trip is roses.
Yeah, yeah, not every trip is roses, but I mean, you were still able to have a little bit of a good time from what we were seeing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, and it's not trip related, but I think when we're out there putting down miles, I think it gets people to buy into what we're doing as a page, and obviously we had that niche or whatever the word is, of being kind of club specific, and that's what a lot of people want content of, whether it's our historical club guys on the page, whether it's our one percenters on the page, whether it's guys that have been in different clubs. And obviously that's kind of the content that people want, and I get that, or they want to discuss or whatever, and I get that. But I think, oh, it's just making me burpy. I think that putting down miles, it's hard to share club events. Like, it's hard for most of us on the page to walk into a clubhouse and be like, hey bros, I'm gonna fucking take this picture and post it up on Four for the Road, so people know that we're down here doing the thing. Are you cool with that? Some brothers might have an issue with that, and I get that. So I think being able to show us, like, out on the road and some of the club stuff that we are able to capture pictures of and whatnot, I think it helps drive legitimacy. And so, I think we have a couple of podcasts coming up. I'd like to see, Stone and the new t-shirt company that he started up. And, we had a conversation with Sketchy and Outcast Motorcycle, and trying to get the Outcast Manufacturing and trying to get those guys on the show. And we met up in Colorado randomly. We met up with K-Bar, which anybody that follows K-Bar on Instagram has one of just the nicest road glides I've ever seen in my life. And his old lady's hit bike is even more badass. He's got just this awesome fucking, oh, you've seen it?
I have. I do follow him on Instagram and can confirm it's a
Yeah,
very nice
yeah.
bike.
And that's kind of how it went down. Like, I didn't even see him at first. I saw the bike and I was like at this gas pump, and I was like, fuck, I know I've seen that bike before somewhere, and I couldn't picture it. And I saw this girl, and in no way am I trying to be demeaning right now, but she's a very kind of petite, cute Asian girl. And I was like, man, that girl looks familiar too. Like, where have I seen that shit before? And I wasn't placing it. And then all of a sudden, one of Jim's brothers started talking to this guy that had come out of the gas station about his bike, and I was like, fuck. That looks familiar. And then it finally dawned on me. And I was like, oh, okay, that's K-Bar, and that's his bike. So we went over, had a good conversation. Super fucking intelligent guy. Somebody I'd love to have on the podcast. But I think the point being, that was kind of one of the good things that came out of that was getting a chance to be on the road, showing people that were putting down miles, and hopefully getting more people that want to come on the show. I mean, it's great hearing us talk. We have good conversations, but sometimes you want to hear different opinions from the guests. And I love balancing it out with dudes that are part of the motorcycle club scene and dudes that are just part of the motorcycle scene, like Outcast Manufacturing, like, Stone. Stone's a great example of somebody that's kind of an awesome club dude, but also venturing outside of that with other avenues and other interests. And so I like that kind of mix for the page.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man. Because I think sometimes we, as a culture, kind of get too wrapped up as it's clubs or nothing, and we forget about all the dope shit that happens outside of clubs, like like Stone and what he's doing with his clothing company. K-Bar just being dope. Jace, that's fucking rad. The 2 Lane Life
Speaking
guys,
of, how was your 2 Lane Life thing?
I always have a blast with those guys. I don't recall any interaction that I've had with any of the three of them, and it wasn't just a good time.
Yeah,
But
I was super disappointed we weren't able to get out there and do like a live with those guys. I was looking forward to that. It would have been just me rolling into California, and I'm fine with that, but it really wasn't the point of the trip. The point of the trip was kind of this group thing, and completely understandable. Drifter, he had to get back. There's a couple of other guys that had an extreme personal matter to attend to.
yeah,
Completely
some
get it,
life
but
happened. Life
yeah,
happened.
and it was posted on the page, so I mean we don't need to go into it, but people know like shit happened. That's tragic. Just very unfortunate and personal, and we completely understand that, and our hearts go out to people that I feel like on the page have kind of become, even though they're in a different club, have become like family to you and I. So the fact that they weren't able to make it, completely understandable. It just kind of felt like the trip really kind of lost a lot of its steam at that point. And going to Two Lane Life, going to Hollister alone, it didn't feel the same. And I'd drive to California anyway. Okay, maybe. It just wasn't what the trip started out to be. It didn't start off as a solo ride where I was going to like hang out with folks along the way. It was, let's get to this destination, let's group up, and let's all go as a group. And that, again, understandably couldn't happen. But I'm just saying that's kind of when my mindset was like, all right, let's just kind of turn north and see some of the sights and head home and save some money.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Two Lane Life guys, though. I was sorry that I missed the podcast with y'all, but I took a lot of their advice for Yellowstone. Yellowstone is gorgeous. Yellowstone sucks on a motorcycle because unless you have a Pan America or a KTM, there's a lot of roads you want to go down that you can't on a road glide, or it's fucking crowded. Like, I'll tell you what, being on the road, people don't give a shit about COVID. Like, if you get on social media, those people might care about COVID. Nobody else gives a fuck. Yellowstone was crowded as shit. Like, and I'm talking at night. So I promised my wife that I would get her a video of Old Faithful because it shoots bigger loads than I do.
It probably pleases her too.
So I was like, yeah, I'll go and film Old Faithful. And I'm thinking it was late. It was sunset past that. So it was probably 7:30, 8 o'clock when I got there. It's like, how many people can really be here? I had so many people. It was like being in the army, like nut to butt on this platform for Old Faithful. And I was like, Jesus. But the Two Lane Life guys, I don't remember if it was Galen or Lance. They were talking about getting there early in the morning and kind of beating that stuff. And that's what I did. Like, I hauled my ass out of bed at like 5:30 in the morning, stayed at a really cool hotel in West Yellowstone, got my ass out of bed at like 5:30 and came through the park. The only downside to that is it was 86 degrees at night and 31 degrees in the morning. Ooh. Oh man, I'm a fucking Eskimo. And I was like, whoo.
Yeah, it's cold when Dave's looking for his third and fifth hoodie.
And so then I had Googled, like, I really like bears. Whatever. I'm a fucking nerd. I like bears. So I was trying to find this I want to see like a grizzly bear. Like, I don't want to pet it, but I want to see it. So I like Googled all these places that like grizzly bears are like more popular during September months in Yellowstone. So I ride there. And of course, those are like, even at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, those are like the two most crowded spots in the entire park. Like, I'm zipping through the park, having a great time. I'm like the only vehicle on the road at 6 in the morning until I get to these spots. I'm like, where the fuck did y'all come from? Like, all of a sudden, it's like instant traffic and tour vans, minivans, sprinter vans, like all this shit with people, just horse trailers, with people just piling out with like FBI cameras with a really long fucking scope on it, like trying to get pictures of grizzlies. And I was like, there's a trail right here. Why don't we just walk down this fucking trail? So I like, not very far because I'm not trying to die, but I walked down this trail for maybe a mile and then turned around and came back just to try and warm up. But I was like, why don't y'all bring your cameras down here? But yeah, so I was able to follow some of Yellowstone and all that, thanks to Galen and Lance. However, they enjoyed, and maybe it's because they had their wives with them, and I was solo, but they enjoyed Jackson, Wyoming, and Jackson Hole. I fucking hated it. Oh my! It is so it is so packed, so packed. Unfortunately, you couldn't really even see the Tetons because of the smoke. Like literally, they were covered. And everybody like that has a Porsche apparently also has a condo in Jackson, Wyoming, and it was disgusting. I was in traffic of nothing but tour buses, Mercedes Sprinter vans, and Porsches. And I was like, this is gross, dude. Get me out of here. So I did not have a good time in the Tetons. I watched their video on it, and it looked really cool where they went. However, I guess when you're trying to like zip through the park, not the greatest time.
See, I think it was I could be way off here. I can't Bryce or Zion Canyon. I think that's up around that way, right?
So to get into Wyoming, I spent the night in Utah, and man, if it wasn't for like the dry drought going on right now, Utah is amazing. Utah is like going from southeastern to like southwestern Utah is like Mars, to going to northern Utah where there's mountains and canyons. And I came up through this canyon that a lot of people know, but it was my first time, Logan Canyon. And Logan Canyon was amazing. It was gorgeous. The twisties are amazing, and it wasn't heavily trafficked. Like I don't know why, but people just weren't taking advantage of Logan Canyon. And the town, people that listen probably know more than me, but the town that you come through before you start Logan Canyon is like the college town, and it was a super like BYU or whatever, super cool town. And then you start Logan Canyon, and it was great. And it was the first time I ever. I'm from Wisconsin. It's fucking flat. We don't have canyons and shit like that. So the first time I ever scraped floorboards was in Logan Canyon. I was pretty proud of that. And then coming through like West Yellowstone and coming through some other stuff, Colorado, and doing the 550, I was feeling myself. I was Big Dick Dave. I got some skills now. I'm scraping floorboards. I'm coming through all these twisties. I'm up in the mountains. Suck my dick, motherfuckers. I got this. Until I didn't have this. So
Yeah.
Then I was in South Dakota, and I'm a big old nerd. Like I went to Idaho. I saw Ernest Hemingway's grave. I like to do some Lewis and Clark shit. I went to Cody, Wyoming, to this museum with Buffalo Bill. Not the guy from Silence of the Lambs with his dick behind his shit, but like the Old West guy, that guy. I do all this nerd shit. And then I was in South Dakota. I like to sightsee. I like to get off on some of the gravel roads, and I don't know, just big dick energy. I came in a little bit too hot on this turn, and I felt that back tire go off from underneath me. I was like, oh, we're gonna slide here. And that's the story that I will tell everybody about how my bike crashed. Just too much big dick energy in those gravel turns.
Just too much Big Dave energy, man.
Just too much in those gravel turns. You got to watch out for that shit.
Yeah, man. Shit happens, man. Shit happens.
Now, what else? But anyway, yeah. If you live in Utah, Valley, right? If you live in Utah, you're lucky. Mexican Hat, Monument Valley, Arizona, right over the border. Like nothing. There's absolutely nothing out there. But I'm just kind of one of those dudes that thinks that's just rad as shit. So I had a good time.
Well, I definitely want to. So I've never been to Monument Valley. I've been to Utah a little bit, but I definitely do want to go through Monument Valley. It's just an iconic place. Like if you stop, you take a picture there, everybody knows where the fuck you're at. There's no explanation needed. You look at that long straight road with those two formations in the background. You're just like, oh, that motherfucker's Monument Valley. And everybody knows that.
I don't know if there's anything else like it. There's probably not in the States that I know of anyway, or anywhere in the world. Utah is just a crazy, like the difference in terrain that you can hit just in the state of Utah is crazy. But I remember coming through and there's like warning signs on their highway signs that are like air advisory warning, stay inside. And I was like, oh, okay. Guess we're getting fucking cancer.
Let's do this. Fucking yeah. See, what did you I know we talked about the Painted Desert. Did you have a chance to hit the Painted Desert?
Mm.
No.
No, you said it wasn't worth it.
No, I said that about the Petrified Forest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
To
I tell you
me,
what, after some of this riding I did, I'm gonna get a fucking Pan Am.
that's not the first time I've heard him say that, folks.
I'm a
That's
fan.
not.
Those things are nice.
This
I
this
follow
is gonna
them.
be a thing.
I follow a lot of Pan Am pages. I like that shit. That to be able to do stuff that you just can't do on a road glide, I'm a fan.
Well, is it? What is it? Because of that chick, Dave? That
Oh yeah.
fucking
Hey, I
that we
met
both
her at
follow.
the I met her in Sturgis at the Legends open house, and it's super cool. In talking to her, had no idea I was ignorant of the fact that she's like this big social media influencer. I didn't know when I met her. But after that talk, I started following her because, you know, we do club stuff. Club stuff is a man's world. I get it. But she had a lot of good shit to say. Like, I liked her outtake or her outlook on riding. And I was like, okay. Plus, she's got tattoos everywhere, right? Like, fucking hot. So I started following her, and she rips. She rips. I know that Galen and Lance have promoted her before and stuff like that. She rips. She's got that Pan Am. She takes amazing back roads on it and stuff that she could definitely make it through a logging trail in Florida.
She. Are we just gonna talk about all the times you dropped your bike, or? Sorry, is that too soon? That's the only thing I really got on you, man. That one thing. That's it. That's the only thing I can hold on to. But no, like even to her credit a bit further, is she she camps and she
Are you following her now?
yeah, you sent us a couple pictures of her. I'm like, oh, I gotta what's up with this?
Yeah,
And
yeah, I get it. We live, club dudes, we live in a man's world. I get it, but I enjoy what she's doing. I think she fucking rips. And that camping aspect, she's got more balls than some of the fucking dudes wearing patches with the way she camps.
100%, dude. Like, there's times where she doesn't even like you see her tent like rolled up, folded up on the fucking bike, and she's just like, "No, this is where I'm sleeping tonight."
And she's
Just
out
like
there
this.
alone. Like, and I think in the macho testosterone world of clubs, we think we're everybody's hero or savior or whatever. Sometimes it's not everybody, but it's easy to get that complex. And she's out there doing it by herself. She's out there setting up her own camping equipment. If there's a bike issue, she's out there fixing it herself. So I give her, she's not just some chick that got up on a bike that she bought at the Harley dealership or whatever and can't do her own shit with it. She shows you through Instagram that she's capable of taking care of this stuff. Does she get paid to influence and ride? And is she getting more advantages than maybe you or I just riding our bikes? Totally. But I think she's fucking earned it, and she's fucking rad. And she'll never listen to this podcast, but if she does, she should come on here and school all of us on on motorcycle camping and rad ass rides.
What? Yeah, dude. 100%, dude. Speaking of badass rides, like I've been, I told them this while we were recording, but I've been living kind of vicariously through you, kind of giving us the inside scoop what's happening on the trip, and through Two Lane Life being laid up, man. Like I'm fresh out of my sling, so I've tried to get out, but like it's a bitch and a half, dude.
Yeah, I
Like,
went and I actually took a picture and sent it to him in front of that hotel in Mexican Hat that they always kind of do their shit in front of. That was a cool place. The ladies there let me park my bike in the shade. It was like 100 degrees out. That's too hot for me. I had a beer by myself, of course, in the shade, and the lady was like talking to me and telling me stuff about it and showing me old pictures, and it was just a cool experience. And I got that because I knew to go there because of Lance and Galen and Two Life. Otherwise, I just went to the gas station and got gas station beers and sat in the parking lot. I did miss a chance. There was a guy. I doubt he's the kind of guy that listens to this podcast. He wasn't a club guy, but him and his homie, they were across the street from the gas station that I did stop at to gas up. And they were just like catching some shade. They did the same thing. They went and got a picnic table and got some beers in the gas station and were just chilling. But he came over and talked to me and was telling me about his ride. where he was coming from. I think they had started in Texas or something like that, and then where they were going. Super cool dudes, and I was just kind of at that point I was like 100 degrees out. I was just kind of like over it. I was ready to. I had spent some time at the river. I had spent some time at that San Juan Inn. I was kind of over it and ready to get going. And I feel like I didn't take the appropriate amount of time to talk to that dude, but super interesting. Same thing in Yellowstone. I ran into a guy that was riding a Sportster across country, like all his shit on the back and everything else. And we met on the road, like literally on the road. We were stuck in traffic in Yellowstone during this big like bison buffalo movement, right? Where they're just kind of all packed on the road. And these cars are like stopped in the middle of the road, like taking pictures. And if you've ever been on a bike in like one of these parks that has buffalo in it or bison, it's fucking annoying. Like, I get it. It's cool to see, but there's no protection for us. Like, if homeboy decides that he doesn't like our motorcycles or he doesn't like our exhaust or he wants to lick my butthole, there's nothing I'm going to do about it, okay?
No,
I'm getting a clean butthole.
You're getting your butthole licked. That's it.
And I was like, dude, you got to at least leave us a little bit of room. Like, if you want to take pictures, I get it. Super cool. I take pictures. Pull the fuck over to the side of the road so I at least have a lane. So, like, me and this dude are sitting there, and like our only options are like to drive off on the shoulder. There's this like F-250 with a pull behind in the left lane, and then there's like these cars and these minivans that are taking up the right lane. And I was like, "Fuck it, dude, I'm going." And so he kind of tucked in behind me, and then we went. And the dude with the pull behind like honked at us, and I was like,
"Fuck you!
What are you doing, guy? Take your pictures. I'm going around you." And they just seem mad. And I'm like, get the fuck over it. Like, I'm not about to get ran over by. That's the last thing I need on this trip. Is like, what happened? I got my butthole licked by a buffalo.
So you know what? Maybe it's a good thing you didn't go see Lance and Galen, because had you listened to the last episode, you would have been educated that buffalo don't exist in North America.
That is not a bison.
It's a bison.
But what's the difference?
Is the water buffalo that's in Africa. Lance gets hot about that.
Yeah. Did he really?
He did, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna. You know what? When I post the rest of my trip pictures, the picture of the bison, I'm gonna be like, "This is not a buffalo, goddamn."
As long as you tag him in it.
Bro, and I had taken some stuff. So anybody that follows Two Lane Life, and again, I enjoy those guys because the same thing with some of the other stuff that we follow is they're dudes that are riding motorcycles that are different from the club world, and I enjoy that shit. And so I was enjoying to kind of getting out there and swapping stories, having a drink and stuff like that. I had brought some things that I was going to kind of gift them, just as part of the relationship that we've had with them. Because like I said, I really do think for the road, not that we're anything special, but to have that balance of not just club stuff, but riding stuff as well. I think there's a lot of people that are in the club specific world. There's a lot of people that are in the riding specific world. I like to be a little bit of a blend. And I love the fact that we have 10 different inputs or 11 different inputs on the page of that. So it's disappointing not to do that. I got to have some road conversations through text message with Jace from Fast Life. Listen to I love his podcast, like 3.5 hours long. So you can really eat up a lot of miles while you listen to them. And I love what him and his dudes do. I love the fact that they're, I don't want to say anti-club. I don't think that's the right word. I think Jace has a respect for it. He's somebody that came from it, but those guys want to do something different, and they're open about that. And I respect that. I respect that they want the bond and the friendship that they have, the brotherhood, without the requirements of the patches. And they want to ride, and they want to tell people about their rides, and they want to party. And I respect that. I get that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's kind of something that you're able to pick up on listening to all these podcasts. while you're riding. And I'm not gonna fucking suck his dick or blow smoke up his ass. There's definitely things that they say that I disagree with sometimes, but that's what makes podcasts and this thing that everybody's doing so great. And we're not in his league because we're not awesome painters. We never have built a custom motorcycle. Most of us are not great photographers like he is. So he's doing something different. And I respect that. I think sometimes that his opinion on clubs is correct. I think sometimes his opinion on clubs are wrong. But that's the great thing about riding a motorcycle. And I think more people need to just kind of respect differences in opinions. Like I said, we met Jim and I. Watching Jim, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it politic. I don't want to use that term though, because I feel like people automatically have a negative.
I think I know where you're going. I don't say he would be politicking, but he is just the embodiment of traditional motorcycle club protocol, and he followed what traditional motorcycle club protocol dictates.
Yeah, and watching him move in different circles is something that you can't get in a Fast Life podcast. You can't get it in a Two Lane Life vlog. And nothing against those guys. Again, those guys are fucking awesome. Watching Drifter do what he does club-wise, I think would give people that are maybe, I don't know if anti-club is the right word, but people that are maybe put off by clubs. So if you ever listen to a Fast Life podcast, and if Jace goes down the club rabbit hole, you'll hear somebody wanting to throw shots or talk shit about clubs. And I get it. That's their thing. And then they've had a negative interaction. I get that. I think if everybody that had a negative interaction with a club could watch what Drifter does, there'd be a different opinion on it. Are clubs perfect? No, they're never going to be fucking perfect. But dudes on motorcycles aren't perfect. But, we can take a lot of good. And I haven't figured, I don't think Four for the Road has done it. And there's nothing against the guys here. I don't know if there's a page or a person or a social media platform that can capture what Drifter and people like Drifter, because there's other ones doing it, how they interact on the scene. And if we had more of that, if he put out a training, I don't fucking know. I think the club scene would be different. We're always going to be a bunch of big dick, small dick, big energy type folks in the club scene, and that's going to cause conflict sometimes. It's fucking inevitable, but fucking train conductors fight each other. There's just always going to be the dark side to fucking anything that you love. But watching Drifter, you see the purity, I guess that's the right fucking word. You see something better.
Like you said, nothing and nobody is perfect, but I've seen this man interact with other people and meet new people and stuff like that. And he's not perfect. He's a fallible man, just like you and me. But I think he's probably the closest. Especially out of us three. Fuck yeah, hell yeah, he's the closest.
And I posted on the page, kind of about that and watching him. And the very first night that I pulled into the hotel, God. Also, whoever the fuck recommended the Thunderbird Inn in Dodge City can go fuck themselves. Okay, that shit was disgusting. And the tweaker that lived next door to us said you're full of shit as well. Okay, it's not a great hotel.
Dude, I feel bad. So I set those reservations up, and I feel.
Oh man, I don't remember. Who
you asked me to do it because you were on the road, but I felt bad.
That shit was nasty.
I'm part of that.
But anyway, so I pulled into that hotel before I saw the blood stain in the room, and instantly, Jim spots another club in close proximity across the street, walks over there, and introduces himself and talks to everybody. There was probably 6, 7 diamond holders, 1%ers over there. Walks in, talks to him, says who he is, where he's from, what he's doing, all this stuff. It made a great conversation. And then one of the guys, actually, one of these dudes from this big club was like, "You're the fucking Drifter from Four for the Road." Oh shit, I love that. And blah blah blah. And it was just Jim was probably over there cutting it up for 45 minutes, and then everybody kind of went on their way.
So
I saw the same shit. there was a large club or a guy from a large club that we ran into in Colorado. And he literally, he talked to Drifter and he's like, dude, a lot of guys don't conduct themselves like you do anymore. And it's fucking awesome to see. And I was like, that's a perfect fucking sentiment right there. I agree with you 100% about Drifter.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's from Jesus Christ, dude. English fucking language today. I've had kind of a rough day. He walks the walk, talks the talk. If he says he's going to do something, he does it. He leads by example. And like hearing stories like this doesn't surprise me about Drifter.
And one of the things I like too is like it's genuine. Like it's not I have to do this because I'm in your area, so that's the protocol. So I'm going to come over and talk to you, or I want to keep good relations, or whatever. Yeah, that's that could be part of it, but when guys are doing that. Like if you've been around a club for 2 seconds, when a guy's telling you something because he has to, versus when it's genuine. And every interaction he had, I felt like was absolutely genuine. Like he wanted to go up there and talk to you. He wanted to know who you were and tell you who he was and shake your hand. And if you would have been the club to stop and tell him a story for a few minutes, he would have fucking listened.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all genuine. It's not. It's for the love of the community. It's not for anything else. It's not because he has to.
Yeah, and again, listening to podcasts out there riding around that are maybe not club related, you kind of see some of the complaints that people have about clubs and club dudes, and I get it. Some of it's very warranted. Some of it is misguided and maybe I think incorrect and fueled by a negative stereotype, and some of it is absolutely correct. But you see the good in everything, and you can say that about any scene. My boy Josh from Mercer there, right? Get him going on the chopper scene or whatever. And I get it, bro. Hipsters on choppers, they're drinking coffee more expensive than their bike. Like I get it, but every scene has that. Like you fucking, Dyna Bros, like with your tall socks up to your balls. That guy can be a douche. He can be cool or he can be a douchebag. Bagger Bros. We get it, bro. You got the fucking reservoirs. You're cool, right? With your pit vipers. Like I get it. Like every scene has its fucking douchebags. The fucking hell yeah bros with the fingerless gloves and the get back whips, dude. All right, you know what? Your rear shocks are your fucking reservoirs showing are just the new get back whips. All right? You heard it here first. Take it to the bank. Rear reservoirs are the new get back whips. But there are so many cool dudes that wear fingerless gloves. There's so many cool dudes that are on performance baggers and dynas and doing club stuff and choppers. Custom motorcycling is built out of the idea of chopping your bike. And, we have been fortunate on the page to have inbox conversations with dudes that come from legendary chopper establishments that are fucking phenomenal people. So I don't know. I think one thing that kind of came out of this trip was I can't buy into this total stereotype of a culture. It's just hard for me. Like I can't hate on this club. I can't hate on that club. I can't hate on this group of people riding this kind of motorcycle. There's just good dudes everywhere. There's shitty fucking dudes everywhere. There's dudes that'll do meth and Superman you off your bike because they're fucking cock smokers, and there's dudes like Drifter who want to come over and hear your story for the love of it, and there's dudes that are going to pay somebody to put air in their tires, and there's dudes that are going to be super talented painters and bike builders. And I don't know, I think your attitude has more to do with it than the kind of context that you fall under, whether you're $1,000 coffee guy on a $500 bike or you're a club hating dude on a $60,000 performance bagger. Your attitude is what I learned, I think, or I already kind of had that thought, but was driven home on this trip is just your character. There we go. Your character is just going to be more important than whatever subsection of motorcycle you fall under.
That's, I mean, that's spot on. No matter what you do, I mean, that's like saying, that's like giving Kyle Wyman shit for, not knowing anything about mechanics, but he's a fucking champion motorcycle racer. It's, I don't necessarily think that that's a culture thing. That's just a like that's a human thing. Because no matter what, somebody's gonna find something that they're not gonna like about you just so they have something not to like about you. People are gonna fucking not like you because you got fucking a black T-shirt on. It's
Yeah.
like, why is he wearing a black T-shirt? You should be wearing a black tank top. It's like, come on, guy. Like, we're both drinking Busch lattes. Let's just hang out.
And you know what? If you go back through, and you listen to other motorcycle related podcasts, if you do listen to the Fast Life, again, I love it. I listen to a ton of the episodes, and I usually save them until I'm on the road, so I have something to kind of get me through. I'm not like a listen to them at work kind of guy. I want to save them for road trips. But if you go back through and you find the Polar Ride episode where they recap their Polar Ride in Texas, it sounds like a dope ass time. And a couple hours in, like I said, Jace does some long podcasts, but a couple hours in, they actually talk about his upcoming episode with us that he was going to do. And I almost feel bad for it, because if you listen to him tell the story on the Polar Ride podcast that he did, what he wanted to say. So it was kind of one where we, not in a mean-spirited way, but we did a debate on the pros and the cons of club stuff from a guy who's kind of heavy in the scene, but not a club guy. And then some of our guys who are in large clubs and stuff like that. He really had a lot of things, I think, that he wanted to present to the listeners that are club involved people on our podcast. That's our niche audience. And then he kind of felt like it I talked to him later on, and it kind of like he didn't get a chance to present how he would have liked, or maybe as much, no, not eloquently, not detailed, but I don't think he drove the points that he was trying to make home. And I think, again, to his credit, I think he's somebody that understands both worlds. And so hearing him talk on it is something I really enjoy. And so if you listen to our podcast, I encourage you to check out other podcasts. It's just not Hollywood.
Yeah.
And see what other opinions are out there, because there's good ones, and they don't necessarily. We learn a lot when they don't fucking line up with ours.
Dude, we don't even agree with each other on shit most of the time. Whether it's, speaking specifically on you and me, because I think you and I don't think we agree on a lot of things. But like, you're still one of my best friends, and that's one thing that I really do like about, and I would argue this tooth and fucking nail to anybody, that, yeah, we have a lot of our own issues in the like motorcycle club community, but the willingness to just put all that aside and say, you know what, man, I love you anyway. I think we beat out polite society every fucking day.
Yeah, no section of society is without issues. People point to the tough guy bullshit or the violence in motorcycle clubs, and it's
That's
such a
low-hanging fruit, though.
It's a small percentage, but it gets the coverage, and it's there. But it's there if you're a cop. There's I love firefighters. There's firefighters that are beating their wives. There's accountants that are pieces of shit. Like it's in every. I don't know if my Pizza Hut guy, he seems pretty legit. I think he's fine, but they're just fucking assholes in every walk of life. Now it's fun because of the media attention and the sensationalism to highlight the bad shit that bikers do. That's just anything. It's going to make money, or it's going to get clicks, and that's what fucking matters in 2021. And it's unfortunate. And every time we hear about it, it's like 10 steps back for our culture. But it's going to happen. And, it's a part of any lifestyle that you're going to live. And this is a hyper, for better or worse, this is a hyper masculine lifestyle. It's an honor driven, we hope anyway, It's an honor-driven lifestyle, and that's going to sometimes have friction. And I think the thing about clubs, if we're going to talk negatively just for a second, you know, it's you most clubs do a great job of kind of holding the line and being that vanguard of who's going to get in and who's not. But to say that every club is able to weed out bullshit and bad members and members with illegitimate intentions is dumb. Like it's irresponsible to even make that claim, because it's impossible to understand how a guy might change in 6 months and or a year, 5 years, 10 years. And we are a society where very publicly you can see the respect that you get by earning something. You can see the I guess almost status that you're given. You can see the pride, the deep kind of tribal pride in having gone through a trial and tribulation like prospecting or probating and earning something, and how guys who maybe don't have the best of intentions want to be a part of that to use it to further something that they want to gain about themselves, whether that's a selfish reason or because they're not confident in themselves or they're just a piece of shit human being. It's attractive for that kind of person, just like it is for the person with honorable intentions. They are going to be drawn to kind of some of those same characteristics for just different fucking reasons. And to assume that a club can fucking weed out every single person that's going to be a me first person, that's a ridiculous claim to assume. Nobody's fucking doing that. Merrill Lynch isn't doing that. We have to hope that the process self-corrects and that those righteous people can weed themselves of those that just want the status. And sometimes it takes fucking longer than others. And sometimes by the time it's done, that damage to the reputation of motorcycle clubs as a whole is already fucking done.
Yeah. But then I think that is that kind of person is showing up less and less. Or if they're still here, they're acting out on that less and less. Because you don't see in the news as much. I'm not saying it's gone, but you're not seeing in the news as much that these two organizations are having an issue with each other. You're not seeing in the news as much. Like this one dude is part of this organization is committing these crimes. You're not seeing that as much. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, right? Because the media is going to spin anything however the hell they want it to. You could be a member of a club and then you on your own commit a crime, and now they're just going to say that, oh, member of this club committed X, Y, and Z, and they're gonna damn the whole club. But I'm just choosing to be optimistic. I could be way off. I could be living in La La Land for all I know.
Well, it's if you Google biker shot or biker fight or whatever, there's stuff that's happened recently that'll pop up. My argument has always been that that's no different than if you Google any other profession, except for the fact that it's, I don't want to say sexy, that's not the right word, but if you're a media vulture, it is more sexy to publicize that or to make that a bigger deal and ignore the fact that it happens everywhere in society, because people are drawn to that mystique of what they don't know. Bikers are supposed to be kind of rough and tough. They're supposed to be kind of secretive, biker clubs anyway. So to see this, oh, well, it's such a violent world. It's such a secretive world, and it must be secretive because they're all doing this kind of shit. And really it's like, the secretive stuff comes from people that they didn't fit in. They weren't your 9 to 5. They weren't your doctors. They weren't your lawyers. They weren't a lot of them weren't popular in school, or they had broken homes, and they found these things to belong to fill those gaps, and to not have to answer to anything, to not have to explain why they're a little bit different, because bikers were traditionally a little bit different than mainstream society. And it wasn't that you wanted to rape and pillage. I'm sure some do, but you just wanted to be left the fuck alone. And that's why it was secretive. And that's sexy. Like, and Freemasons, fucking the History Channel runs a shit on the Knights Templar every other day. Like, secretive shit is always going to be intriguing to people. And so when you put that and fights, guns, bombs, murders, whatever. It's fucking sexy. But you could Google doctors selling pain prescription pills and starting an opioid epidemic and find just as many doctors that are violating their oath of taking care of people. Like, it's just, it's what's going to get clicks and sell newspapers and books and all that shit. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I get why, like we were talking about, some of that stuff might be a turnoff to people that are looking at clubs. And one of the arguments is, why do I need that? Like, I've got friends that I'll ride with that have my back, that are my brothers. And I get that argument. And if you have that, why do you need a club? Like, I get that. I think clubs serve a purpose on a couple of different levels for stuff that you can't get just from ride. And people argue with this, and that's fine. There needs to be a healthy debate. But guys will say that I can get the same thing from a club just with riding with my friends. And I would say, absolutely, yes, you can, to a point. I think there's something just tribal in this kind of intrinsic thing where you are, and I think it's why you see such a draw from military guys. It's like this unspoken contract that I might lay down my life for you. I may ride with you till the fucking wheels fall off. Half of what's in my pocket is yours. We're going to go through trials and tribulations and hardships together to earn something. That's prospecting or probating or shitty miles on the road and bad weather or whatever the case may be. And people outside of that aspect, they might say, well, why do you need that? I'll give him, my best friend here rides with me. I'll give him $50 right now. And that could be very true. There's just a different thing about earning it, about the title of brother, of maybe earning that patch. And it's so similar to guys that volunteer to join the military or go through military schools. And I'm not saying that you can't replicate what it's like to be an Army Ranger out on the streets, but until you earn the tab, it's not the same thing. And again, I think for the kind of people that are usually drawn to clubs, not always, there's guys that are drawn to clubs that had a perfect life and nothing ever went wrong for them, and mom and dad are still married and all this stuff. But I think for a lot of people that are drawn to clubs, they went through, I guess you say trauma, or whatever, where the family home wasn't perfect. Growing up was tough. Joining the military, they had to prove themselves. And they want to continue that. And I get that. There's not a whole lot of places where you can challenge yourself to earn something that shouldn't just be given to you. And that's really what motorcycle clubs, kind of at that basic surface level, there's obviously deeper stuff, but at that basic surface level, it's about earning something that you can't otherwise get. And you'd like to say that every brother you share a patch with feels the same way and has kind of done the same shit. But talk to anybody in a large club, and there's obviously guys that they're going to be close with and guys that they think you shouldn't have their patch, but they respect them because they do. That's a fact in motorcycle club life. And if somebody tells you different, they're fucking lying. And that kind of comes back to that tribal nature. And even in large clubs, you'll see guys that almost click up. And we've talked about some of the dangers of that and how that can be a negative for a club. But I think it's also inevitable. And you're just going to have groups of people that identify more with each other. And it'd be nice if all these clubs were composed of these people that had those same values. That's not realistic either. And neither is thinking that club dudes are better than you or worse than you just because you and your friends have that same level of dedication to each other. If you are not in a club and you and your homie are going to go somewhere and then decide he bails on you at the last minute and doesn't tell you, there's no repercussions for that other than maybe you cut him out of your friend circle. That's the worst thing that can happen. The idea in a motorcycle club is that the the dishonor, the punishment, the whatever for letting down your family, your brother, is should be much worse. Whether that's a fine, a strip back to prospecting, or something else, the dishonorment of you gave your word that you were going to be somewhere and then simply weren't is unacceptable, or should be unacceptable for most clubs. And I think that's something that you can't necessarily replicate uh, just in riding around with your friends. I would argue that you could probably replicate 90%, 95% of what you get in a motorcycle club, just riding with your homies. But that 5 to 10% that you can't is fucking huge for
Yeah,
so many people. And I
that's
think that's the difference, and that's the draw.
yeah, absolutely, man. And that's like I've discussed this before with you guys. The big draw for me is accountability because I kind of suck as a human being, but like you said, the accountability makes up so much, and that makes you a better man, and that makes you a better brother, and that's going to bleed off into other aspects of your life. It's going to bleed into your work eventually. It's going to bleed into your family eventually, and it's going to make you a better man. Like you said, if I bail on you, I tell you, hey Dave, I'm gonna see you at this bar at 7 p.m. You say, okay, cool. 7 p.m. rolls around. 7:10, 7:30, 8:45. I still didn't show up. Worst case scenario, you don't fucking talk to me again. Worst case scenario, you cut me out of your life completely. There's no accountability there. So I have to go find somebody else to ride with. That sucks. Whatever. Next.
Yeah, and I mean, in doing these rides and talking to these different folks, there's a community out there that replicates a lot of the good stuff that clubs give you without the bullshit, and that's awesome. And I encourage that. To discount and say, well, I have all this, so clubs are fucking worthless. I think you're short sighted. I can certainly understand your argument, but to be dismissive of it on that level, I think you're wrong. Well, clubs are they mean mug everybody. They don't have any fun when they go to events. And like, look, I get it. You want to wear your pit vipers and fucking drink your White Claws, and that's cool. And I dig that. But it's the same shit as somebody that would look at you and say, well, that's fucking gay. Why? That dude's having a blast in his pit vipers and his fucking White Claws, or his, showing off his rear shock, his rear shock reservoirs or whatever. Like, there's going to be judgmental people across everything. And my question when I hear somebody talk shit about something else, like, well, what'd that guy do to you specifically? And if you don't have a good answer, I think you're fucking wrong. And I'm oversimplifying. I get that. But like I said, there's amazing shit that clubs give you that you can't get just riding with your homies. And there's a lot of bullshit that clubs give you that you can stay away from by just riding with your homies. And at the end of the day, it's an individual choice for every man. And I respect whatever choice you fucking make. And I think you should likewise respect the choice of somebody that makes something different than you. I make fun of guys that wear fingerless gloves and get back whips. But there's some of those dudes that are 1,000 times cooler than anybody with fucking Dynabro socks or whatever the fuck. Riding with Jim, he brought his cousin along. His cousin's older than me. His cousin rides a hell yeah street glide, but he's a dope ass dude. He's a funny dude. I had a good time. He doesn't snore in the hotel when he sleeps. Like,
Party.
I had a good ass time with him. And on the surface, I would have looked at that and been like, no fucking way. Like, what's the combined age here? 670 and I'm 30? Like, there's just no way. But he was funny. He had good shit to say. He rode well. Like, it was just a blast. And then that was somebody that if you pulled up to an event, a chopper event, a performance bagger event, whatever, somebody might say, look at these guys or whatever. And why? That dude was fucking rad. So I don't know. I think that we're very quick to judge just based on whatever our lane is. So I'm a club guy, so I'm going to judge that way. I'm a performance dude, so I'm going to judge that way. I'm a fucking miles pounder, I'm going to judge that way. And I think, we'd all be a little bit happier if we just knocked that shit the fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that goes for anything, man. Like, you want to run your mouth about people? Okay, cool, whatever. You want to feel fuck. At the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror and figure out what the fuck is wrong with you. because nobody who is healthy walks outside and says, man, I'm so happy that guy's doing what the fuck he loves. Doesn't care about anybody else, what they think. That's awesome. Nobody that's healthy does that, or that's not healthy does that. People that are not healthy walk out and say, look at that fucking queer with his fingerless gloves. Look at that fucking faggot with his bedazzled jeans. You know, those people do that, right? And that's fine, dude. Like, you ain't gonna fuck up my good time. You can talk shit all you want, dude. I had like there's this cat who I met. He was a fucking dickhead. Like, I was wearing a 4 for the road shirt in a gas station in Central Florida. And his dude's, oh, hey, you listen to those guys? I said, oh, I'm one of those guys. I'm punk rock. He's like, and he looked me up and down and said, man, they should have called you chunk rock. And then turned around and walked away. I'm like, wow, okay, fuck you too, bro. Like, am I gonna get in a fight with you over that? No. Yeah, I'm fucking lumpy. You know what? But you're fucking.
Nobody calls my punk rock fat.
No, dude, and that's fine. You know, I would have cheered you on because I would have been out of fucking breath. But but
you know what I love
but
is
that's
like,
fine, dude. Like, you want to fucking hate on me for, first off, you listen to my show. So and then you want to make fun of me and like talk shit about me and then just walk away. Like, it would have been funny, had he like dabbed me up right afterwards and be like, hey, dude, like, I really like the show, whatever. But like, just be like, oh, you fat piece of shit, and then just turn around and walk away. It's like, all right, man, fucking, I really hope that your chick fucking gags on your dick tonight to make you feel big. And then she looks you in the eyes and says, man, when's the last time you washed this thing? Unfortunately, everybody, we had some audio issues at the end of our episode here. So we really do appreciate the love and support that we get from you guys. It really does mean a lot to us. But while I have you here, I do want to bring up one thing that's really important to me, and that is the 10th annual Cruising for St. Jude Research Hospital, hosted by Gator Harley Davidson. It's on October 2nd, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's $10 per person, and 100% of the proceeds go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Now, the ride starts at AmVets Post 1992, and that's located at 32201 AmVets Way in Mount Dora, and they're going to have breakfast available from 8 to 9 a.m. Now, registration is going to be there from 8 to 10 a.m. with kickstands up at 10:30, and the ride ends at Gator Harley Davidson. There's a full bar, food, 50-50 raffles, and auctions, and live music by Barfly from 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So head out there, support a great cause, and don't forget to go get it at Gator.